Howdy gamers, Keith Hershey here with Ominous Glow Games. I've had a request to talk about 3D printing. So, uh, I started 3D printing about 8 years ago ish. My first printer was the Hicktop, um, and a good friend of mine, Jolly Blackburn, convinced me to start 3D printing, and he answered the questions I had. I got one. Came in a box from China, and then it took me an entire weekend to assemble it. That box was nothing but parts. It was a very interesting learning curve, but I'm thankful looking back because I learned how to build a 3D printer literally from parts. There was over 200 different parts. So I knew the ins and outs of that 3D printer, and it's helped me to this day to help understand when a problem goes wrong, how to troubleshoot because I built one. So, um, and since then, I've had ANET A8, which they had a problem. They were a fire hazard. I had to shut down my business for a little while due to that. Um, I've had Ender 3s, Prusa MK2. I have a Prusa MK4 right now. I also have a Bamboo Labs A1. Um, and I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, I also started with the resin printers. Got an Anycubic Photon. And then there I upgraded and got me a Frozen Sonic Mini 4K. And my main workhorse right now is the Frozen Sonic Mighty 4K. Um, is it 4K? Actually, yeah, I think it is 4K. Um, that's my workhorse right now. So I've been printing for a while. I had a 3D printing business. It's still out there. I don't do any commissions right now. I have a lot on my plate, so I'm not taking any commissions. But the name of my business was roleplayingterrain.com. I've had many licenses with many reputable companies to deliver printable versions of STL files. So I work with that. I've delivered projects to big third party companies such as Frog God Games. I've printed and painted projects at conventions, and I'll show you some pictures here in a little bit about that. Uh, I've even had well esteemed clients from overseas that I've painted or printed and painted and sent stuff for. So I've worked with a lot of people over the years with 3D printing. I have a lot of friends that have now entered into the 3D printing realm. Congratulations to those people. And every once in a while, I still get questions or advice on stuff. So anyhow, from this point, I'll give you, I'll kind of show you some of the things that I've done or I've worked on, so you can kind of see the scope of what I do. And then I will probably go into my current favorite list of designers and companies that make STL files that I would recommend for you to pick up. All right, so I mentioned before, like I said, I started. Yeah, it was about 8 years ago. My biggest first gig I had was a project for Frog God Games, The Mouth of Doom, which I was able to print. I was not able to get it painted up for North Texas RPG Con back in 2017. It received a pretty good review back then. It then, after that, it got painted for and used at conventions at Gamehole Con. I think that was 2017 as well. I think I got it painted in time for that. I'll show you some pictures of that. It also debuted at GaryCon, GaryCon 10. And it worked its way around for a few years, and it eventually was auctioned off at GaryCon, and it now resides in the Bill Meinhardt collection. He is a prodigious, the world's largest RPG collector. So it's quite the honor that a piece of my work is now in his collection. So anyhow, let's take a look at some of the things. Let's look at that project there real quick, and we'll show you some other cool pictures. All right, let me switch over here. All right, so here is a picture from North Texas RPG Con 2017. You've got Zach Glazer, the CFO for Frog God Games. They're off to your left. We have Skeeter Green over to the right. Worked closely with those two to get this project going. Also, Bill Webb, the CEO of Frog God Games. You can see him back there in the background. And even Stefan Picorni from Dwarven Forge was there. And he thought it was impressive. He just was hoping to see it get it painted up. Which he did shortly after that. But yeah, even got props from Stefan Picorni on this. So let me go over there and go into my albums here as I dabble through here. Let's see here. We want Gamehole Con. I've got a lot of albums here. Gamehole Con, yep. And here it is, all painted up, ready to go. And then here's some of the tables. So you can see here, Skeeter Green. He is DMing this game here for a bunch of fine folks. There was quite a few different DMs that have DM'd on this table. These are all tiled from Fat Dragon Games. Tom Tullis with Fat Dragon Games. I also worked with him on getting some custom files for this and printing it. And I think it was at GaryCon. Tom actually got to play on this set. And for those of you who don't know, this is for the module Rapin Athuk, level 1D, Mouth of Doom. It's one of the entry points into the mega dungeon known as Rapin Athuk. Let's see here. Right, let me go to some other projects here. We'll go to another album. Sorry, I'm fumbling through this here, trying to make this work. Oop. Albums here. Let's see here. Let's look for GaryCon. GaryCon 10. So I met a lot of cool folks here. I also met Matt Barker from Printable Scenery, the owners of Printable Scenery here. Worked with him a lot. I used to have a license with Printable Scenery. And so we got to hang out and see each other in person at GaryCon, which was really cool. They had a really good setup that year of their Printable Scenery stuff. Sorry, that picture's a little blurry. All right. Anyhow, here is the table at GaryCon. Once again, Skeeter Green is the DM. And for those of you who might not recognize that that shirt there and the guy sitting there to your right here, this is Tom Tullis. So he got a chance to actually play on the board as well, which is cool. Bart Miller right there. So yeah, lots of fun at GaryCon. Like I said, this map it's seen quite a few miles. All right, so with that, let me back up, go into some albums, and show you some of the stuff I've worked on. Here's a big mansion that I have printed up. Unfortunately, I have yet to paint this bad boy up yet. One of these days, when I get enough time, I will paint it. It'll probably take me a solid month to do, but at some point I will. Pick up some more. Dang it. Albums. Okay. Um, I should have grabbed these pictures. All right. Let me show you some of the stuff recently. This is actually from 3 years ago. I did a whole bunch of these little dolls with weapons and whatnot. It was a Christmas adventure where all the kids ended up going missing, and there was a new toy shop in town, and the toy manufacturer was actually kidnapping all the kids in the basement and transferring their souls into these dolls. And yeah, they were not having it. So that was really fun to throw out all these little doll miniatures at my players. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to paint those. I had ran out of time. So there's one of those. Here's a picture of Wargsville with some of my buildings and streets that I got here. Here's a really, this is one of a newer layout I did on my table I have downstairs. I have a custom built 4x8 table that expands to 6x8 downstairs. So I got a river here, which is Dwarven Forge river tiles there. Everything else is 3D printed by yours truly and painted. There's another angle of it. There's this pond here. This is Monster Fight Club right there. Actually, let me back up here. All right, so here on the left, this is a big project by Dark Realms Forge. Dark Realms Pino is the owner of that company, and he makes some amazing terrain. But this is Weathertop, just a small sample of that I 3D printed. The bridge here, I think this is by Ian Lovecraft, if I remember right. These trees here, I think it's Tabletop RPG. I can't remember. Printable scenery, that building back there, and some of their trees. There's a bunch of different stuff in here. Back over to this angle, another angle of Weathertop in the background. There's a Hydra, resin print Hydra that I painted up. There's some of these barrows here. I think those are Dark Realms as well. These trees are some of my older trees from printable scenery that I flocked and put up there. There's these cliffs. These are, gosh, I have so many different people I follow, so it's hard to remember. I'll have to get back to you on the name of that company. They do some pretty cool work. Once again, you can see the river here. I flanked it with some of these hedge pieces here from Infinite Dimensions, which is another one of my favorites, making some really awesome terrain. Here is another shot here, so you can see Weathertop. I have the Hanging Tree by Printable Scenery up here in the top. And you can see a lot of their buildings in here, some of their taverns, their church, their scriptorium. There's some printable scenery buildings scattered in there as well. I think 3D layered scenery has this tower right here. This is a Fat Dragon Games Dragon Lock house that I 3D printed and put together. So Weathertop again. So we're back around there. Here's another piece I did recently. The players were in a big old giant forest. I've got three bunch of different tiles in here from different or bunch of different trees from different companies in here. They've got Printable Scenery, which is the autumn blocked ones, and some of these other smaller guys over here. Um, in the middle here, we've got Terrainify trees. The Trask is from WizKids. Some of these other trees right here on this other side are from that Tabletop RPG. Some STL miniatures ones, and then some barrows from mainly Dark Realms there. Here's another angle. Here's some uh, ruins from Printable Scenery here as well. You'll also see some resin like forest pieces over here. That's from Cast and Play, their exterior terrain sets that they got. And here's another view from down low. It looks pretty cool looking through the trees like that. Let's see here. Let me see if there's any other Oh, here's another one with that weather top with the road set from Gamescape 3D, which is another incredible designer who makes some really cool stuff. I'll be doing a cliff set at some point in the near future, but he's got a vast array of roads that are modular that you can clip together. He's got some huge castle sets that are really cool. And he just released a river tile set, which looks very promising and realistic. All right, so let's take a look. Let's look at some of these guys here. So let me just make sure we're still on track here, which looks like we are. All right, so right here, this is Gamescape 3D through the Patreon. You can see his banner here where he's got a lot of his different files. He does a lot of buildings like plateaus, cliff sets. Here's the river system that he's currently working on. That's the current December release. And, you know, he's got a really good bang for the buck. He's come up with some really cool original stuff lately. Look at this, you know, doesn't that just look amazing? And then, you know, he's got a village set here. Let me see if I can get down to this cliff set here, which is another thing I'm really excited to show you guys at Fortified. I mean, he puts out solid stuff every month without fail, and he's been around for a while now. Yeah, here's this super tall cliffs using his cliff system. Look how tall he's got that thing with switchbacks and everything else. Really freaking cool system. Here's some more pictures of that. So if you're into 3D printing, he's high up on my list that I would recommend. Fat Dragon Games with Tom Tullis there. His Dragon Lock tile system is another really good company. Here, Fat Dragon Games. Here's their site. He even has some sci-fi game he just recently released. But he's got all kinds of different sets. He even has old paper terrain that you can do as well, which looks really good. Yeah, here's some of his tile sets. He usually does at least one Kickstarter a year for some new sets and whatnot. He's got a lot of really good stuff. There's actually working terrain within his newer sets as well, with a lot of like LED walls and stuff. So really cool stuff there. To go along with that, if you're like the clip system and the modularity, this is another guy I highly recommend. Andrew Mills with Milestone Heroes. Does a bunch of different sets that complement the Dragon Lock and is completely compatible with that system. He's got tons of different sets, and you get scatter sets and multiple terrain sets every month. And once again, he's like Tom, he embeds LEDs and functioning stuff into his sets as well. So some really awesome, really cool stuff there. Let's see here. So I don't forget, I mentioned printable scenery. These guys are out of New Zealand, but they've been making a lot of stuff for a very long time. And they've got quite the variety of different sets available. Um, so definitely check them out as well. Their newest set is the um, King and Country Ruins, or City of Renchackle in Ruin, which is this like old, like, I don't know, I kind of get like a Mordheim type, theme from that as well. But really cool sets that come from printable scenery. All right, let's go back down my list here. One of my top favorites, Dark Realms. I didn't find him until probably I think it was about 4 years ago when I found his stuff, and I have uh, been a backer ever since. Back him, every month without fail. He's got some really cool stuff. Like if you're trying to build like Lord of the Rings type stuff, his themes are the way, in my opinion, top notch. He's got just a sheer variety of really good buildings. The scale of his stuff is really good. Um, and he's always coming up with new stuff every month. So you get a variety every single month with his stuff. So definitely check him out. Moving down the list here, we're going to go over here to Miniature Land. This guy is a really great bang for the buck. To back him, you get big models every month, two standard models. I think is it? There's like four different sets. I think two small, four standard, two large, and two big sets every single month, and it's only like $8 a month. I mean, and he comes out with really cool, neat stuff every month. So he's another one. Definitely highly recommend checking out. Um, I'm going to switch over to uh, my mini factory. Is another place that I've been backing the tribes and whatnot for a while. Um, so over here, I follow Infinite Dimensions games. Let's find one of their newer ones here. Uh, Here's one of their newest projects that they have. This old stone mill. They make some really big buildings that work really well and scale with your miniatures. Lots of really cool pieces that these guys do. Uh, they got a really big church, tavern, scriptorium, walls, bunch of buildings, houses, lots of cool scatter terrain. They started off only doing FDM, but they've recently been going back and making supported 3D versions, 3D resin printed versions of all their buildings. So if you have a really big printer, you can print their stuff. But they're another fantastic company. These guys are out of Canada. Great group of guys that I also will follow. Go back to my library here. Flesh of Gods is another newer company that I've been following. They mainly do miniatures. Um, I like their stuff. It's kind of a realistic versions. Their sculpts come out good. Oh man. Uh oh. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that delay. Must have been a hiccup on the internet. Um, but yeah, these guys, they're for resin miniatures. Um, really cool, realistic looking models. Um, and the one thing I love about their stuff, they do something unique that I haven't seen anyone else do, is every set they come up with this cool framed diorama that kind of also portrays what's going on with the current adventure. And usually there's an adventure like that goes along with their miniature set, so they're a good one. Um, let's see here, who there's quite a few that I follow here. Ooh, let me go back up here to creators. Um, Cast and Play does some pretty cool stuff. They've got a lot of cool minis. Every once in a while, they do some good terrain as well. They did some Kickstarters for like exterior and interior, like resin sets of terrain. I'm trying to get down to those to see some of those. But you saw some of those in the forest resin prints up above. Yeah, it's too deep to go. Check that stuff out. Let's see here. Da-da-da. There's a lot of good people here. Crippled God Foundry does some really good minis as well. Some really cool themes and stuff on their stuff. Uh, there's so many of them that I've dabbled or picked up. Um, like a free subscription, or I backed them for a couple months just to get a feel for them. So there's a lot of really good companies here. I'm just trying to give you a real quick rundown on some of my favorites, which I think that's pretty much that here. So I want to go back, and I know I have some other cool photos here. Oh, yeah. I also did this castle here. This is also another set of STL files from Dark Realms Forge. This castle here took me 6 months to print all the pieces. It's fully modular. Even the basement, there's a whole dungeon down in there. It all comes apart, and it took me about another month to print that up as well. So that's good. Let's see here. Let's go 2020. I was pretty active. Yeah, here's a set I did for Skeeter Green for his module. Crypt of the Science Wizard that I 3D printed, and um, I assembled that. And after it was done, I sent it off to him. So I thought that was a cool thing to do. I ran it for a couple people as well. It's super fun adventure. If you don't have a copy of it, you can pick it up through his company, Skeeter Green Productions, I think. Uh, yeah, so just Google that and you can take a look at that. Here's some more buildings and whatnot I've 3D printed. Um, this Hobbit village here. That is by Dark Realms Forge as well. Corbett or Code 2 Games is where that swamp comes from. Sorry, I'm zooming through a lot of this stuff real quick. Anyhow, should probably go ahead and cut the video here. I think I've been yakking long enough. But hopefully that gives you a better understanding of where I am, how in depth I am with the 3D printing, um, and some of the cool things that I've done. I still actively put on games. I don't do them every week like I used to. Right now, I'm only running games about once a month. I just have a lot going on. I'm still trying to do a bunch of writing for a bunch of modules that are currently in the hopper. Me and my buddy Arvin Donner are working on getting those out the door. Uh, it's just taken us a lot longer than we initially thought it would, because we have some busy, hectic lives and whatnot. So anyhow, there we are. How many of you out there are you 3D printing? And maybe if you can, I'm not sure. Can you post pictures of the current project you're working on down below in the comments? Anyhow, happy gaming, and we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye.